So here we are this afternoon with Mr. Patrick Gay, who is the chairman of the Gay group of companies who have developed and operate the Gold Coast City Marina and Shipyard. And Pat, we'd be really interested today to hear how you had the vision to build what is such a vibrant shipyard in the Coomera Precinct. When you started, it was just farmland with cows on it.
Back in history, I was chairman of the Gold Coast Waterways Authority. We recognised that the Spit, which at the time did most of the boat work in the Gold Coast region, was far too valuable to be used for such an enterprise. So the authority decided that we'd create a marine precinct, and this is where it is on the Coomera River. Our concern was a little far away, but then there was really no other place where we could build it to the magnitude or purpose that we believed. When the Waterways Authority finalised, we'd done some wonderful things like build the Gold Coast Seaway. People objected to it en masse. Today, if you took the seaway away from them, they'd object in multi-masses. It's been vital to the growth of the Gold Coast. It's made every year somebody got killed on the Spit. Nobody gets killed on the seaway. That's one of its vital benefits.
So it was primarily built for safety, to allow people to...
It was primarily built to stop the migration of the Nerang River. Sometime in history, the Nerang River came out at Mermaid, which is 5 kilometres south. So the entrance always had a tradition of migrating north. This, of course, caused instability both in depth and place. We stabilised it by stopping it where it was, and we built behind it because the seaway was directed in a south slightly predominant position in order that it minimised the wave capacity to come through the seaway, having consideration that we made the seaway 16 metres deep. Now, that would have produced a mild tsunami that would have covered parts of low-lying Southport. So then we built what's known as Wave Break Island. It's now a mecca for tourism, but having said that, this U-shaped beach stops the waves in their tracks. That worked beautifully. As I said, the Waterways Authority was disbanded. I recognised there was a real need for places the boats could come and get a whole range of work done on them. In other words, they needed not go to Southport for, say, electronics, Brisbane for upholstery. That was silly, and I decided that I would build a one-stop shop. So I set about its planning. I bought land here at Seaway Drive because it was designed by the Gold Coast Waterways Authority, and we thought that that was an appropriate name. And I set about the design, the planning. We had our problems being waterfront, flat river land. Its stability was poor. I had to put an enormous amount of foundations in, but after a year we built what is currently today Gold Coast City Marina. It's a home for both super yachts, regular waterways traffic, and a lot of very professional tradesmen who do all the work necessary for the maintenance and care of a boat.
The Coomera Precinct, which has developed on the back of Gold Coast City Marina's establishment, now has around 5,000 tradesmen working here every day, and that is unequal to anywhere in Australia. So super yachts and larger commercial vessels from as far away as Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney all come to Coomera when they need refits. It's absolutely amazing what's followed on from your early investment some 23 years ago.
Well, that was one of my hopes, that they'd forget the point of we're a few kilometres up Coomera River, but it worked because the boats, when they get here, are able to do whatever they feel necessary for their maintenance and continued usage.
Way it's progressed, Pat. So You're now moving on with the Titan Yard, which is the stage 2 area of Gold Coast City Marina. And that's a significantly further advanced product than what we're sitting in here today, that's 23 years old. At the moment, you can lift to 300 tonnes here at stage 1, Gold Coast City Marina, and the plan is to be able to lift around 6 times more weight of vessel at 1,800 tonnes eventually in the Titan Yard.
During the progress of Gold Coast City Marina, I was aware that I'd sold the land next door to Riviera, so we couldn't expand that way. So I was fortunate enough to buy a 50-acre plot at the end of the precinct beside the railway line, and that was set aside for Gold Coast advancement. We're in a position now, council has plans and they're considering them favourably, I believe, and we will commence stage 2 of Gold Coast City Marina development. Recently you've also moved into some specialised marine projects and building vessels using the expertise of the business partners here around the shipyard, and one of those vessels was displayed down at the Indo-Pacific 2023 exhibition in Sydney. That's quite an interesting strategy that you're moving on with that. We're fortunate to have 1 or 2 people who've got a considerable marine knowledge, and one in particular a naval background. They brought it to my attention, I approved it, we won a tender, and we built these futuristic Kevlar coated devices for naval use eventually, and it's been successful. We're hoping we'll get a contract for more, but it's the way of the future, and we're taking advantage of that. I'm sure everybody's very interested in not only the history of Gold Coast City Marina, but you've given a little insight into the future of Gold Coast City Marina as we move forward over the next year or so. So appreciate your time today. Thank you very much. A pleasure, Andrew.